immediate next year.
Are you going to call them?
It was not relevant in my investigation.
The hands of the second accused that belong to the deceased?
No.
You did not. Did you find anything that belonged to the deceased in the hands of the second accused?
No.
Either clothes, money. The second accused's name in the phone book belonging to Monica,
No.
the deceased?
No.
Now, in fact, did you? And you did not find any messages sent to the second accused, either to the second accused. You also went as far as the Facebook investigations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yes.
Did you find any relationship between the second accused and the deceased, either as and so, I want to take you again to Exhibit 49, which is your statement.
Yes.
The only way, Exhibit 47, I have for this information. The only way that the second accused, as far as you're concerned, is connected to this murder is in the 5 items you listed there. The use of motor vehicle.
And in addition to what I've said,
Yes.
the issue of the blood, presence of the blood, of the deceased blood in the house.
And the most you can say about the blood was that it was in a house used by 4 people, isn't it?
And again, I explained that yesterday about the gun, the correlation of the gun, and I said this. At the point that accused number 1, Joseph Kureru, was going into the house of the deceased, he was armed with a firearm. And I said that on observing the body of the deceased, I didn't find any defensive marks. This firearm was used by accused number 1 to make the deceased submit.
No, I'm not doing the first accused case.
I just want to make the correlation between the firearm, because firearm is there, firearm is in the house.
So you basically are saying that the first accused went to threaten, tied her up, and killed her.
Just give me time so that we get it better, because we are already there. I'm saying he was armed with a firearm confirmed by a person known as James Lando, whom he left his car with. He goes into the house, commits that murder. Then the same firearm that was used to make the accused, the deceased person submit, because there were no defensive injuries. Ordinarily, you will find somebody who's being killed trying to defend himself. Even a hen, when you want to slaughter a hen, it will kick. So the deceased must have been subjected to severe fear. What can cause a severe fear? The firearm. Why did he even arm himself with a firearm when going to a friend's house? He was intending to use, this person was intending to use the firearm. So this firearm is used to submit, for submission, so that now the deceased submits to whatever happened.
And that's 19, isn't it?
Exactly. Now, this firearm finds its way back to the house of to accused number 2. So that the weapon that was used in the process of that murder, that facilitated that murder, that facilitated the submission by the deceased person is now found in the house of accused number 2. And again I say, accused number 2 facilitated accused number 1 by availing her vehicle, which took her to the house of accused of the deceased.
So you've left the issue of the gun. You're now moving to the issue of the gun.
I'm just giving it.
So let's discuss about the gun. I intend to take you to the case. So you said, as far as you're concerned, Jennings' information was that the first accused had a gun. That you made an application to visit the sites, isn't it? Being Lemuria Gardens, Royal Media, and
I do recall
making the application and answering that. You recall explaining, and you tell the court very directly that indeed the second accused was not in the vehicle on the night of 19th of November, which culminated in your narrative that the murder happened between 10:25 and 11:40.
That's generalizing, because when you say Later on, they were together as they were.
Later on, they were together, but in
But
that
at
car,
that-
were they together?
No, at that particular time, my point was, accused number 2.
It is me who has the point, and my point is, I'm just asking you a specific question.
Yes.
The only people who were in the vehicle, as far as your case theory is, was Jennings and first accused, not second accused, isn't it?
As they were, before he got to the house.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
And this is the same point at which you said Jennings is saying he saw a gun.
Exactly.
Did Jennings see the gun in the hands of the second accused?
No.
Is there anybody who has told you that the second accused ever had the gun on the 19th of September?
Yes, you know, in custody, in our house, at not physical position, but it was recovered.
No, I
inside
mean
our
physical
house.
custody that she was waiting on, and we are talking of 19th of September. Is there any point between 8 a.m. on 19th to midnight when the day expires? Has anybody said that at any point during that day when the murder happened, the second accused was in possession of a gun?
Not in physical position, but I'm saying this gun was,
And that's not what I've asked you.
yeah.
So I've just asked you straight.
Yes.
Has anybody told you, either Jennings or Pamela or anybody else told you that the second accused Maribe ever had a gun on the 19th of September?
Not on her body, but in her house.
Not her personally.
Not on her body, but in her house.
This story you keep saying a house. How many people are in that house again?
4.
And you keep conveniently forgetting that. We are also agreed that the first and the second accused were a couple, isn't it?
Fiancé. That's the words that.
They were living as a family, weren't they?
My fiancé. Those were the words that.
Is there a difference between what you want to say and a point that they were a family? Is there a difference?
A fiancé, the marriage probably has not been formalized. You are just in the process of.
So they couldn't have a family. They couldn't have been a family unless they had formalized their.
What I'm
They are
saying,
living together.
the words of the second accused was that the first accused is
And my question is this, Otieno.
Yes.
Just straight. They were living together as a family,
Exactly.
sharing food, sharing
Exactly.
house, sharing
That's
papers,
true.
taking care of the child together, isn't it?
That they were living
So for all
together.
practical purposes for this case, these two were living as a family, isn't it?
Exactly.
And you keep saying second accused house. Did you find anything belonging to the first accused in that house?
First accused.
Yes.
Yes.
Like?
Huh?
Like?
Clothing.
Yes. Excellent. So indeed, the things that were in that house belong to both the first and the second accused, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now,
So, Council, the question would be,
yes.
why does we keep saying the second accused house?
Yes, why do you keep saying the second accused house when we are in agreement that indeed this is a house for two people who are living as a family?
Because I'm saying the second accused person because she's the person who rented that house. Far back later, according to what I gathered from her and the house help, the first accused person joined later around June of 2018. They
But
moved into that house
At
in
the time of the
December.
murder, they were living as a family, isn't it?
Exactly.
And there are things that belong to those guys,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Exactly.
Now, we've agreed that nobody told you that the second accused had a gun on the 19th, isn't it? We have agreed on that.
Not physically. Not on her,
Yes, not on her,
but in her house. That's,
in their house, isn't it?
I'm saying in her house because she
Not
was
their house, not their house.
in her house because
You seem to be so bitter against the second accused. You cannot let her, you really are malicious against her. isn't it?
nothing like that. I'm saying in her house because she was the person responsible for. Even before the first accused joined her, she was
Okay,
already
let's move
in
on.
operation.
I think the point that we made we will argue that explanation. So you say that you did not, nobody told you that they saw the second accused holding the gun or having the gun on her body. We are agreed on that, isn't it?
Yes.
My second question is, in the totality of your investigation, was there any point at which you got information or evidence to the effect that the second accused was a proprietor of a gun? So there is Songo, there is Juju, there is Monica, there is Chela, and there is Anita, isn't it?
Yes.
They're all there.
Yes.
And you recorded their statements, isn't it?
Some, yes.
Yes. Now, I know I asked you earlier on when we were looking at the events and the movements of the first accused. Now, I want to ask you from this perspective of the movements of the second accused, being 7:30 to 9 p.m. is at work. From 9:30 to 11:30 is at Q Lodge with his friends.
Yes.
From 11:30 to around 12, he goes to Westlands.
True.
And then he's at Westlands up to 4 p.m. And you have witnesses who you checked with to confirm whether what the first accused was saying, what the second accused was saying was true, didn't you? You recorded their statements, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, it is true that each of these people confirmed that indeed the second accused was in each of these places. Work 7:30 to 9 p.m. Q Lounge up to 11:30. Then to Westlands up to 4 a.m. They confirmed that, isn't
Yes.
it? In their statements.
Yes.
Number two, they also confirmed that all this time they were not with the first accused. The second accused was not with the first accused.
Yeah, that's true.
And in fact, Juju, who you said already was with the first accused at 5 p.m., is now saying, I was the second accused used to leave Q Lounge to go to Westlands was the vehicle belonging to this Juliet, due to
True.
the MCA.
True.
With all that then, you have nothing to say that the second accused was not in all those places she has explained and accounted for.
She was, as you have applied.
You accepted that she was there
Yeah.
in each of these places.
True.
In firstly, this movement from 7:30 a.m. to 4 a.m. do not take her at any point to Lemuria Gardens, isn't it?
Takes her because you'll find that
Just listen to my question.
I've gotten it well, and that's
And answer it.
yeah, exactly. So you'll find at some point before even the phone went off. According to the call data, she's kept in spirit.
And was the deceased on the Street Road or at Lemuria Gardens?
Lemura Garden, that was the first interest when I made a request as to the location.
My question was this, Ken. My question is, considering this explanation given by the first accused, second accused,
Yes.
considering the statements you recorded from the people she said will verify where I was,
Yes.
does it take her any time to Lemuria Gardens?
Other than the call data, no, nothing.
Let's start with this. I will come to the call data.
Mm.
So the second accused says, this is where I was.
Yes.
These are the people I was with.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Does the statement of the second accused, together with the corroborating material you collected from the people she said she was with, say she went to Lemuria Gardens at any time?
From the settlements, no. Yes.
Now let me ask you the general question that which I think you are so desperate to address. Is there anything that places her in Lemuria Gardens?
Not Lemuria, but
So you have nothing that places her in the building Lemuria Gardens, do you?
not Lemuria, but Roadhouse. Lemuria, no.
Lemuria, no.
Yes.
Now you made reference to the call data,
Yes.
and you said at a certain point the second accused was on Dennis Street, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it true that Royal Media, where she works, is also within the proximity of Dennis Street?
Yes.
And we also say at the start of my cross-examination that the transmission mast covers an area, isn't it? It's not like one is for one place.
That's true, but there's a distinction. If you look at the call data of the call data for second accused person,
You recall a witness, an expert on that issue, isn't it?
exactly.
And you already adduced evidence on that issue.
Yes.
isn't it?
Okay.
Okay. Now, you also said, now, said in your allegation, and so you have nothing to show that the second accused's alibi is false. You have nothing to show.
The only thing that I can add on that alibi
Yes.
is the fact that on the 19th,
Yes.
call data captures the same location as where the deceased was, full stop.
And where was
In
the
terms,
deceased?
huh?
Where was the deceased?
The call data says Dennis Split Road.
Okay. And where was she killed? Was she killed at Dennis Split Road?
That's the information as captured in the call.
Was she killed at
In
Dennis
her
Split
house
Road?
at
Is Dennis
Lamuria.
Split Road a description of a place? It's a road, isn't it?
Yes.
Was she killed on that road?
No, in the house.
Yes.
Yes.
And does Ms. Jackie at any point, is there any evidence either by a person or anything else to say that she was inside that house?
No, I don't know about that evidence.
Just so that we close that issue, because you keep going back there.
Council, I want the four of you to make progress.
Yes, Your Ladyship, I'm going to a different issue now, Your Ladyship.
Please do.
Yes, page, yes, please. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, at page 2 to page 3, you've listed 5 people who were in the, okay.
Yes.
That's one person who went up to the Muria, isn't it?
Yes.
The next person I want us to look at is the second last paragraph, that same page.
Yes.
One Simon Kira, the second person who was in
Exactly.
that building, isn't it?
Yes.
In the Lumuria Gardens.
Yes.
Number accused according to you.
Yes.
And the last one is in the second paragraph at page 3, Owen Omondi.
True.
Those are the only people who were in that house, isn't it?
Yes.
Now my question is, did any of these,
True.
it could be a knife or a panga or something?
Exactly.
Yes. It was not by witchcraft, isn't it?
Right?
Sio kwa uchawi.
A sharp object as per the
Yes.
PM.
So the second accused needed to have been there if he was to have participated in the killing, isn't it?
It could have participated by the fact of being a principal offender, not physically being there.
So your
And that's
case
why-
is that he
Mm.
could have participated in the murder even if he was not there physically.
Exactly.
And how would that be if it's not witchcraft?
I said you can facilitate one
Because she gave out the paper.
Not only that, for the other reason that I also mentioned.
Okay. Now, you said also in your allegations that the second accused switched off her phone, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, do you have anything other than you saying that she switched off her phone? You saw in her statement, which I just took you through, the alibi statement, that she said her phone went off.
Yes.
You also recalled that she told you she was with some 2 people at Hugh Lounge, one called Shaw and another one called Otis.
Yes.
And they were using her phone to watch Songo's interview at Citizen.
That was
That's her explanation.
Yes. Yes.
And she told you that in the course of watching that interview, her phone went off power. In the course of watching the 3 of them,
That she said yes.
she told you. Now, did you record the statements from that Otis and Peterson
No.
show to say anything to show that you did, she switched off her phone, other than you saying?
Yeah, I was taking it from that point because
Just listen to my question. Do you have an expert saying, I have looked at, you took the phone for the second accused, isn't it?
yes,
And analyzed, isn't it?
true.
Did you get any expert to say that I have analyzed the phone and indeed the phone was switched off
No,
at
I
night?
don't have that
You
evidence.
don't have anything to
Yeah.
say. So it is your supposition that indeed it was switched off.
Exactly.
When my learned friend professor was asking you questions, a question was put to you whether the first accused had any motive to kill the and it indicated to me that you did not establish any knowledge of the second accused by the first accused, of the knowledge of the second accused of the deceased.
That would be repeating.
You relied on a guidebook which you refer to at page 8 of your statement to show the entry to the Lemuria Gardens, isn't it?
Yes.
Could you confirm that the name of the second accused is not in that book?
No.
It's not there. Those are the shots that you keep saying was found in the home of the first and the second.
The front, a spot on the front and
Yes.
another spot at the back.
Yes. Now I know you engaged at length with the professor on that issue, but I just want to ask you, it is possible that the blood, that's a possibility.
When it is done on any surface, yes, but in this circumstance,
Just a minute. So that's possible when it, I will give you a chance to explain it. I don't- So it is possible that when it falls on the top part of the textile material, it could seep into the
are you making reference to that, to the, or any other cloth?
any other thing.
You're able to keep it in that time?
I hope I will do it. That is what my estimation is. Then Inspector Maxwell,
Yes. Chief.
Chief Inspector, apologies, Chief Inspector. Confirm, according to the statements that you recorded and investigations, that the first accused used to pick up and drop the second accused at work.
That's true, my lady. True, my lady.
And you also confirm that she was the one who was paying the rent and fueling the car.
True, my lady.
Your ladyship, where is that from, your ladyship?
My
So
lady,
we object, your ladyship, that was not taken up in either every cross-examination of the first or the second accused, your ladyship.
my lady,
That's something new. We would need a chance to cross-examine.
my lady, there is the issue that they were living together. And that, so I'm just confirming whose details were in the rental agreement, who was in control of that relationship.
That
Principal partner in this relationship. That she was just not, the way it has come out is that the first accused, and that is where the joint offender comes in.
In terms of ownership of the house or in terms of?
In terms of all the activities that occurred, she knew where that vehicle was at all times because she's the one who used to control where the vehicle used to go.
That we object, your ladyship. Not tracker was the issue of payment of rent.
My lady, I can rephrase. I'll refer you to Exhibit 110, page 2. Using my motor vehicle.
True.
Can you also confirm that on the can you also confirm from the statement of Jackie that was read out by the second accused counsel that on the 19th of September, Joey called Monica through her phone and she talked to Maribe and he asked if he could come pick me up as usual, but I told him I was going somewhere else. He then asked if I could join and I said go ahead.
That's true, my lady.
So she used to, so what the statement is implying that he used to pick her up from work
True, my lady.
and that on that night she was.
True, my lady.
Can you also confirm that on the night of the 19th, the second accused was in the vicinity of Dennis Split Road?
True, my lady.
You confirm that she states that she was at Q Lounge and then she went to Roadhouse.
True, my lady.
Can you confirm that when we did our visit at Lemuria Garden, we visited Roadhouse
We did, my lady.
and we visited Citizen,
We did, my lady.
and Citizen was opposite Q Lounge?
True, my lady.
Can you confirm that these distances are very close to each other?
Very true, my lady.
Can you confirm also that she claims the second accused stated that she was at Q Lounge and Roadhouse with her friends?
That she said.
Can you also confirm that her friends did not account for every minute she was at that place?
True, my lady.
Can you confirm that in her statement,
Could we know which minute that one? Which minute is it not accounted for?
no, we are saying, can you confirm that the witnesses did not account for every single minute?
That's what we are
They
saying.
were
Which
together.
minute is not accounted for?
The minute of 10:31, 10:21, they just say that they were together around that time. Can you confirm that
Your Ladyship, we object to that. There's nowhere where they say around.
My lady, in their statements that have been provided, they said that they went to Q Lounge, then they went to Roadhouse, then they left for Westlands at around midnight. So from Q Lounge to Roadhouse to Westlands. In Exhibit 10, page 7,
True, my lady.
and she states very clearly, I told him to give me back my card and that he can leave my house.
That's true, my lady.
Waited for her
To a table nearby.
around 2 o'clock by the first accused.
True, my lady.
And the second accused advocate had said that they left the venue at 4 o'clock,
You said that.
2040.
Yes.
Can you confirm that the IC3 data shows that they were at Bagabi at 4 a.m.,
That's
the
true.
time where they are alleging they left?
That's true, my lady.
So it was an estimation.
It was an estimation.
Please testify.
Can you confirm from the investigations you did and the statements you got from Brian that the first accused was in possession of the gun before the 19th of September,
That's true, my lady.
and that this gun was in the possession of the first accused who resided in the second accused's house,
That's true, my lady.
and that this was the same gun that he had on the night of the 19th
True, my lady.
that he had taken from the house.
Exactly, my lady.
Can you confirm from the statement provided by Jennings through your investigation that this gun, the first accused removed it from the
Dashboard.
dashboard of the car belonging to the second accused
Yes, and hosted it
and
on him.
hosted it? And that on the night of the 19th, they went back together with the second accused to the house of the second accused
True, my lady.
with the same gun.
True, my lady. Yes.
That this is the same gun that was used in the gunshot incident on the 21st night.
True, my lady.
And it was still at the residence of the second accused.
True, my lady.
Your Ladyship, who is testifying now?
My lady, I'm just confirming.
Who is testifying?
Ask
My other friend is practically testifying.
My
And
la-
probably my good friend Tina also should know. It's not that he must say yes to everything that she says.
I
my
say-
lady,
I say yes to.
I'm just confirming what he has provided during investigations, during the statement he provided, my lord. My
Your
lady,
Ladyship, we insist that the witness be the one testifying.
can you tell us the night of the 20 to 21st?
Yes.
Was there a gunshot incident at the house of the second accused?
There was a gunshot incident at the house of the second accused, which whereby the first accused person shot himself in the closet area.
And can you tell us, from the night of the 21st, where there was a gunshot incident, is it correct to say that the first accused still resided with the second accused until the date they were arrested?
True, my lady.
25th.
True, my lady.
Is it also correct to say, I'm trying to rephrase, is it,
Let the
Yeah,
witness
testing.
be the one.
yes, my lady,
You shouldn't make him just remain confirming what you are saying, as though we are on page
Yes.
two. Please be paraphrased.
can you tell this court who took the first accused to hospital on the night of the 21st? Who took the first accused to hospital?
Accused number 2,
Yes,
Pran Kasaine,
yes.
and the wife Kate. There are
And-
3.
Can you also tell this court when they went to report, can you tell this court once they went to hospital, where did the first accused come back to after the incident of the gunshot? Whose house did she come back to?
But
did he come back to?
at the house of the second accused person.
I'll take you now to Lemuria Gardens.
Yes.
The investigations that you conducted, can you confirm who was in the house according to the investigations you conducted on the night of the 19th?
Yes, my lady. Number one person was accused. Number one, Joseph Kure Irungu. Number two person was the deceased person, Monica Nyawera Kimani. Number three was Walid. And number four was Lee Owen. Dabul Walid and Lee Owen.
Tell us what time Mr. Owen, if Mr. Owen left and at what time?
He left after 10, around 10:30, around 10:30.
And did he leave anyone in the house?
The persons that were left in the house were only two. Accused number one, Joseph Kure Irungu, and the deceased, Monica Nyawera Kimani. They were the only two persons left in the house.
You were asked about Walid, one of the witnesses. Did he say that he was in the house on the 19th?
Yes, he was in the house of the deceased person on the 19th of September 2018.
And who did he confirm was in the house together with him at that time?
Walid confirmed that at the point he arrived at around 8 p.m. of that day, he found Joseph Kure Irungu, accused number one, together with the deceased Monica Nyawera Kimani. Later, they were joined by Mr. Lee Owen.
Were you aware that can you confirm to this court how the identity of the first accused was provided to this court and in your investigations?
Yes, in terms of, I was told that in terms of complexion, it was brown in color. He had a beard which was well styled. In terms of clothing, he was putting on a maroon cap and a white kanzu plus a brownish coat.
Can you tell this court if he was identified in any other manner by the persons